Borgias were, you are advised to watch the seasonal movie, The Borgias. Now here's the core of the gist. Cesare Borgia was, in fact, the Pope's most loved and illegitimate son. At one time, papacy members were allowed to marry. Pope Alexander VI was known for having multiple mistresses, and in 1476 bore a son named Cesare Borgia. Cesare was Alexander's favoured son, and by the age of 15 had already become the Bishop of Pamplona. By his 18th birthday he was a cardinal. Borgia also had an older brother named Giovanni, who was Captain General of the papacy military forces. Cesare envied his brother's position, and many scholars believe he envied it so much that he had his own brother assassinated in order to obtain the office. Other records show the brothers slept with the same mistress, the wife of their younger brother Goffredo. Many believe the inflamed love triangle between the brothers and their so-called mistresses is what led to young Giovanni's demise. Following Giovanni's assassination, Cesare Borgia resigned his position as cardinal and became Captain General of the papacy military. During this time, the Catholic Church was waging war on Islam, and Cesare was about to play a vital role in the history of the Church. The theory is that people were generally not too enthusiastic about the Catholic Church's regular massacres of Jews and Muslims, because the people they were killing looked like Jesus. However, at the time, the Muslims in the dire struggle had successfully made their way to Germany and had taken control of Turkey. This threatened the Church's stronghold over the empire. During the same period, the image of Jesus was similar to that of a Muslim, and the Church was having a hard time selling its ideologies in the region. Pope Alexander VI desperately devised a plan to correct this difficulty. The grand plan was to have every painting of the original Messiah destroyed. The Pope then ordered the destruction of all art depicting a Semitic Jesus, and commissioned a number of paintings depicting a Caucasian Jesus. Some kind of campaign had ensued to ensure that this works. The Pope's son, Cardinal Cesare Borgia, was the model for these paintings. Thus, the nastiest of all the Borgias became the iconic Caucasian Jesus so loved by Christians today. Alexander VI had commissioned Leonardo da Vinci to reinvent Jesus in the image of his own beloved son, Cesare Borgia. This completely disassociated the whites of the empire from the Muslims they had to fight, making it easier to kill their enemies in good conscience. The transformation of the true image of Jesus from black to white here had been purely political motive back then, but the consequence of the act had lingered until today. Between 1502 and 1503, Borgia employed Leonardo da Vinci as a military architect and engineer, in which he and Leonardo da Vinci became intimate instantaneously. They had become lovers. To express his love towards Cesare, however, Leonardo painted many pictures of him. Cesare's father, Rodrigo Borgia, who later became Pope Alexander VI, under the authority of the Catholic Church elite, had his son's picture put up as Jesus Christ in the Western world. It was said that Cesare had sex with his own sister Lucrezia, and had also killed his brother Giovanni in 1497. This was the man whom the Catholic Church had given their consent to, allowing his picture to be put up and portrayed as the Christ, to deceive the whole world by getting them to think that Christ was European. All of the images and paintings, some would say most, that are displayed in churches today are those of the mobster Cesare Borgia. In an effort to keep black slaves oppressed so that they could sustain their rulership in Rome, Pope Alexander VI had hired Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo to paint all of the images of the Black Christ in Europe, in the said image of Cesare Borgia, his son. Since both these artists were well known during the time called the Renaissance period, a competition had broken out between the two to see who could impress the Pope more by making a new image of the Pope's son that would deceive the world into thinking that Cesare was Jesus. Eventually Leonardo da Vinci got to win the competition, so the majority of the images displaying the white European-looking Jesus that we see in paintings today at churches and Christian stores is actually a picture of Cesare Borgia, not the Messiah. But Leo, the Borgias were,